YouTube, it's Brian Proctor back again with another video, and in this video I'm going to talk about line weight. Now, a lot of new artists don't really understand what line weight is. They use it, but they don't understand it. So I'm going to show you what little I know. I'm not going to say I'm a pro, but I'm going to show you what little I know. So first of all, what is line weight? Line weight is basically the thickness of your line, inked lines, because you really can't say that with pencils. And I'm looking for a marker. I don't know why I don't just grab one. Let's just say you have a thin line, a thick line, and a thicker line. That's your line weights right there. So you have your thin, your medium, and your heavy weight. And these lines usually basically they show you, or they convey distance, shape, light and shadow, and weight. And I will show you how you use line weight to convey these. So let's just say this thing here, and this is done in pencil. So if I went from thin to thick like that, now this thing looks like it's coming close to me. So let's just say if it was a meteorite, let me get even a thinner pen, a meteorite, and it was shooting across the sky, you would say, oh, it came from way over here and now it's here, just by varying your line weight from a thin to a thick. That conveys distance. Let's say your shape. Now all this is done in pencil. So I mean, you can do line weight in pencil too, but if you ink it, then why waste your time with pencil? So again, I'm looking for a pen because I have different shape pens. What I usually draw with is the XS or SX. It basically is extra small to I'll go up to maybe a 3. Usually I don't go higher than a 0.3. So I'm doing the S right now. So shape wise, let's just say you have this line here, and I'm off the line, but that's okay. Now, the way I do, well, let me jump back. Let me go to light and shadow first, because that's getting into the way I'm drawing, and the next picture is me drawing. So I'll do my box, light and shadow, and I always draw with one size line. Every time I draw one size line, usually the XS. This is the Faber-Castell, which is my favorite pen to ink with, and I'll show you why in a second. But I always do the one line, and then when I finish the complete drawing, I'll go back and then I'll make the line a little thicker. So if this was light and shadow, I would do a thicker line back here to indicate that it was a little darker. And this one is dying. That's why I pulled out some extra ones. And this one, let's go with this one here. So if my light was coming from this way here, all this would be thin, and then this would be thick. So I could actually even make this one a little thicker here, but I would not want to, because it kind of throws it off. So I would stick with the bottom sides, and I would come up. I would leave this one light, this side light, but if I did not, and I want to exaggerate, I would come up like this to where the line is very thin. So this one would be exaggerating. It would be like this, come up. So if the box, again, was like this, my line would be thick here, coming up to thin there. And you can actually break your lines to either make it look like it's invisible. So we say there's so much light on a line that you won't see some of the line. So it would come up to like a thick to a thin like that. And this bottom part would be completely black. And then the same thing with this. It would be a thick to a thin, to give it that shape, or that appearance that it is in shadow. And same thing under here. And wherever you have something touching the bottom, if something's sitting like a foot or something, you want to make it thick anyway, because there's always going to be a shadow of something when you touch. And then if you have a great inker, he can or she can do stuff like this to even make it look like it's more in shadow. But we're talking line weight right now. We're not talking about inking. So this one with weight, let's just say this was a teardrop or a water drop. You can same thing. You can come out, and it's hard to start out with a fat pen. Always start out with a thin pen. So I'm using this Artist Loft, which is, you know, very inexpensive pens, but my pen, my Faber-Castell died or starting to die on me, so I needed to switch up. So with that, that's your water drop. So from there, what I would do is the same thing with the box. At the bottom part, I would just go back over and add an extra line to make it thicker. And right away, that gives it kind of a heavy, weighted look at the bottom. And you go up to thin. As I said, you could actually go up to where it's basically invisible. And then you get a sense of weightedness. So with this shape, what I do is anytime there's the highest point of a curve, I will add heavier line weight to that. I don't know why I'm losing my words. And usually when I was just talking about light and shadow, you would say, okay, now if the light is coming down, wouldn't the darkest part be at the bottom? But for this particular way that I do, and a lot of people do, it's because of any high point on the curve, especially in doing comics, is representing the muscle. And then this channel is geared to doing comics, so that's what it's about. Now, if you want to do like interior work and so forth, that's a whole different story, but this one is geared to comics. So the highest point of the curve is going to be darker. Let's just say if I did this, if I had this, and this is my little arm right there. So I would ink it, as I said, I would ink it in one line weight first. And then I would go back, let me put the little hand here, just because. Then I would go back and then I would add the weight to the highest point, as I say, and then usually under as well. Not so much under because I'm not too concerned about light and shadow unless I'm doing something where it's night or a guy's in an alley or there's a lot of light focusing on that particular person or scene. So I don't really worry about it, but I will make it somewhat thick in areas to give it that more roundness feel. Same thing with the hand, but we're not going to do this because I have some more examples underneath this waiting for you guys. Okay, so as I said, there was 3 types of weights. Let me remove these because I'm going to work on those later. 3 types of line weights, which are, and let me do this. Let me see if I can get this again. My table's at an angle. You have your thin line. This is a 3. So you have that one. And then let me pull out an 8. And then you have that one. So now with these 3 guys here, I'm going to ink them, and hopefully I can ink it fast enough and to where I don't have to speed this up. And I'll show you the difference on the lines, the line weight. So let me start with this little guy in the back here. And it's going to be really rough. And one day I'm going to do a tutorial on inking. I'm still doing my starting your comics from start to finish series, and I'm working on the penciling right now. It's just sitting down and doing it. It's the part that's taking so much time because I have a lot of viewers said that they love that series, and it's an ongoing. I just have to finish it up. And so this is going to be really rough inking because I don't want to do detail on this, nor do I want to speed it up because it might be something wonderful that I might say that I need you guys to hear. And if I speed it up and try to come back and say it later, I might forget what I was saying. And as I was saying earlier about the pens, there are a lot of different pens out there that you can use to ink, but the big difference is when you erase that that line for cleanup. Sometimes some of these pens, they will erase as well, not completely erase, but you'll go from a black line to a gray dull line, and that's the last thing you want when you have done a great ink job and then you have to erase. So working on this last guy. And as I said, I will do all of my drawings in one line or one line weight. Because the smaller the pen, the sharper it is, and you can get in and do a lot more detail with it instead of going with like a number 8, which is so fat and you really can't really get any good detail from that. So with that, now I would come back and let's use a thicker pen with this one. So, and then go over, and even a 3. And this is a 3. Might not be as good as I want it to be. And it gives you a sense of distance. Yeah, let me, which one is this? This is a Staedtler. Some ink better than others. I'm not going to lie to you. But for me, as I said, what I look for is when I erasability, I guess you could say that. When I erase, I want my lines to stay black, and I think a lot of inkers will just use regular nib pens or brushes, because when you use the liquid ink, it stays black no matter how much erasing you do. But I think what my weakest thing would be inking. I'm more of the penciler than I am an inker, so that would be one of my, as I say, my weakest points. And for this guy who's real close, let's just do this. Let's use a Sharpie on this guy. And again, that conveys a sense of distance. I can even go a little bigger. So when you see that, because of the line that's so thick, you say, oh, this guy, he's closer to me than that guy who was closer than this guy because he is so far away. And I can actually make this line a little thicker because this one is so thick, but you don't want to go too far. But that's the difference between your 3 types of line weights. And I would actually have to do all of this to make you see that he is closer than the other guy. So that's your 3 types of line weights. So next up is I have a couple drawings that I have to find. Like these 2 guys here. Now this is really a rough sketch, but I want to show you a little bit more about line doing the process of how I do it. So I'm going to go back to my number 1, and either my glasses are really dirty, but there's really not enough light in this room. I have to get some better lighting, but hopefully you guys can see it. But for me, it's a glare. coming from his glasses. So let's do this guy first with the closed hand, and he's like, you know, oh no, Walmart's closed, don't go in. So yeah. And now I'll try to do a better inking job on this guy than I did the other ones. But as I say, I don't want to take all of your time up watching me ink, because inking is a long process. And you won't see that other ear. And I guess this is the part where you would go fast forward if you were watching it on YouTube, because Lord knows I do with a lot of videos that I'm looking at, especially if it's not at the point that I want it to be at. So with this hand, which is right in front of you, I broke it down into 3 joints because it's a focal point. Usually I'll just do twice. I won't have the 3 little joints in between. The only time you have to do good detail is when you have something that is really close up, like a face. Like if I had a close up of this guy's face, I'd have to do a little more detail than that. So we have this bicep, and then give the guy some eyebrows to make them look a little eviler or madder. And you have your rib cage here, which comes down to your waist, abs, and the other arm that's back here. And I draw with a lot of lines, so you know, I feel sorry for whoever inks my stuff. I don't have an inker, that's why I do a lot of rough lines, because I know the final line that I want to use. But if I ever get an inker, he's going to catch hell trying to figure out what line is what. But I am a rough drawer. So now we have this guy here. So because his hand is closer, that's going to be the fattest point of the drawing. So let me use this 8. And as I say, the difference between like an 8 and a 1 is the point. It's hard to, I don't know if you can see this because my camera's above it, but it's easier to draw detail with a point. That's why if you ever took art in school, they say make sure your pencil's sharp, because you can get in there and get that fine detail. So by doing this hand thick like this, it actually makes it look like it brings it out closer to you for that dramatic look. And you can make it as thick as you want to without really going overboard, shall we say. I can make it even thicker than this, but I don't want to go too overboard, just enough to where when you see that panel, or when you turn that page and you see that panel, that hand is the first thing that jumps out at you. And as I say, this guy could be saying stop. This guy could be powering up his whatever laser beam that's going to come from his hand, or he could be generating a shield or whatever. So that is the focal point of this. And then from that, I would just make this line a little thicker to thin. Not as thick as this, but to thin. And then go from there. And then I would add my circles. As I said, the highest point of of any circle would get more line weight to bring that out a little bit more. But you don't want to go any thicker than that. Now sometimes I will go over the whole line just to make it thicker, and then come back, and then do a little weight like that. And there are certain things that you have to do weight to, like the chest, the inner chest, because there's shadow there. Usually the back of the lats to make that look a lot thicker. You know, shadow in here, shadow in the abs, maybe a little thicker here, there, like the top of the head. I don't mess with the top of the head too much. Under the chin, because that's your light and shadow area there. So then the hand, which I don't want to forget the hand. Just bring that out. Even though the hand is in the back, you don't want that to be too thick. That's going to be your thinnest line from the hand. So that's going to be thick all the way to very thin. So I'll go over this just one more time, because some of these other lines got a little thick, close to the thickness of the hand. As I said, you can make it as thick as you want, but you don't want to go overboard with it, because you're taking away from everything else, and you still want to see the rest of your drawing with the part that you want people to be focused on. It all ties in. So like that. And then if I did any detail in the hand, that wouldn't really have to be as thick as the outer line. And let's say I go in and make that thin again, and there. So that just gives you a better idea of what it looks like. So with this guy, without the thickness of the hand, he has his hand crossing his chest. So I'm gonna go over that one again. And this guy is scared to death of something. Maybe they're making a Piggly Wiggly in his neighborhood. Yeah, Piggly Wiggly. That's something from the South, if I'm not mistaken. I don't even know if those stores are still around. What is a Piggly Wiggly for you people way up east, north, wherever? It's a grocery store. It's just like a country grocery store. When I first moved to Georgia, I was like, what is a Piggly Wiggly? But it's just a grocery store. As I say, I don't know if they're still around or not, but yeah, cheap prices. And again, all my lines are one thickness. Because of the sharpness of the pen, I can get good detail. And you always turn your page. I worked at a school, it was an art school, and this guy would have everybody tape their page down to the table when they started inking, and I would like cringe. I'm thinking, man, what you're holding them up. But yeah, it was his school, so I couldn't really just go in there and say, yes, that's not right, dude, that's not right, because he did work for DC Comics for a while. But yeah, if you look at any inking video, you will see that they continually to turn their page, because it's better to pull the pen or brush than to push it. That's just something you have to do in inking. So for those people who are really brand new to inking, you're tracing over your original line, and then you're going to come back and you're going to make it thicker. And that's all it is. Just if it's just being confident enough to draw over your line or someone else's lines. But I usually don't. I had like one or two people ink something for me before, and they really screwed it up. So I just say I'll just ink my own from now on until I can find me somebody that is, I would say, I don't want to say worthy, because that's a bad word, worthy to ink my stuff, but just fits my style. Let's put it that way. So okay, so now we have this guy. He has that one single line weight, and this is called something. I think it's called open line or something. There's a terminology for this one line weight. I forgot what it was called. So the focal point would be more you're focusing on the whole thing, but you don't want this arm to get lost in translation. So you would make that thicker because it's coming in front of the body. and it's also coming forward more, so that is a reason why you make that thicker, to give it that. It's more forward than the rest, and it's covering the body, so you want that to stand out more. You don't want it to be thick like this, but you do want it to be thicker than the rest of the lines. Like that. And then again, going back over my highest point on the curve, I just add a little bit more to it to make it stand out. And then you have it. As I said, you don't necessarily need to have this hand so thick, this line here so thick that it looks like it's just kind of broke off, or it's swelling up from power or whatever. But you do want to have this a little thicker than the other lines behind it. And this one, as I said before, this one, or did I say it? This one is trailing behind him, so that's going to be your thin line. So, and then you start to do your shadows, but we're not getting into shadows and so forth. We're doing line weight. Stick with the program, Brian. Line weight. All right, and for the last one, the difference between having one that is line weighted and one that is not line weighted. So I drew these two almost identical. And I'm going to do one with line weight and one without the line weight. So this is going to take, I'm going to take my time on this. So I'm not going to speed it up. If you choose to speed it up, you can, but I may do a little talking while I'm doing it. I should, to keep the video from being so bored. But in the end, I'll do, as I say, one line weight and the other without, and I will just take my time pretty much with this. And I'm a pretty fast drawer, so it shouldn't take too long, but I don't want to mess this up, because this one is going to be the what do you call that, the screenshot, the clickbait. So I don't want to screw this one up. And you have your ribs, and your ribs come, a lot of people have trouble drawing that. If you have your torso here like that, and you have your waist here, just come straight up like that. Come straight up from this line and curve around. I believe it's like going into the chest, and then you just add this little triangle here, and then your ribs come from there. Because it took me a while to figure out how to get that, but that's how it comes. The same way this is. You come straight up, and it comes around toward the chest. So back to what I was doing with the focus, because as I say, this light is truly poor in here. But, you know, I'm not the rich man, and I don't have the track lighting and the special camera and so forth. I just do what I do to make good videos. I would try Patreon, but, you know, starving artists, it's hard to get money from starving artists, especially young people that are starting comics, which is basically what this channel is geared for. Because I have tried to do the thing where you get money to produce your books or whatever, and got zero. So I said, that's just not the route for me. So I'll just continue to do what I do until I get the money to do what I need to do or want to do. So I'm not going to ask anybody to try to support. If you want to, email me and say, yeah, Brian, I'll support you, but I'm not really begging for support. I'm just doing this because I enjoy it. And if it gets to a point where I can't do it, I'll still do it. This is free. I'll draw on newspaper or something like that. Put the pencil up. And I said I want to show you the difference between the pens. As I said, this is the Artist's Loft. You probably never heard of that because it's really, really cheap price. I'm not gonna say cheap as in, oh, don't ever buy this, because I bought it because of the price. I probably didn't have the money to get the Faber-Castell, but it's working good now. As I say, it's in the inking. It's in, or should I say, it's in the erasing. That's where you have your troubles at. So, okay, that's one down, checking my lines. So now we'll do the other one. And hopefully it's in range, because I have this square inside my paper to tell me where to go and where not to go. So I ended up buying a thing that will pair to your monitor. It's that you can film with your phone, and it'll show what you are drawing. But, and I said I was going to do a video. I said that in my last video. I ran out and I bought it. And then this thing will not hook up to your laptop. It will hook up to a monitor, but you have to have a Galaxy phone. And I have an LG. So I have to buy a Galaxy phone to Samsung, one of the Samsung Galaxies, to see, because there is an app that comes with the phone that's already on the phone, should I say. And if you don't have the phone that has that app, then this $50 device is useless. So to me, it's useless. It's sitting on the floor beside me doing nothing but just laughing at me for spending $50. So now I'm trying to find a used or an old, maybe like a Galaxy 5 or something. I don't need the 8. I don't want to spend a lot of money on something, but it has to have that app in it before it's going to work, or that app that's connected to it. Because I tried to download it. It's a mirroring app. I tried to download it, and it would not go with my phone. I don't know the correct word with it. It wouldn't sync or whatever with the phone. So there too was a waste of time and energy. So I have to buy a phone so that I can see what you guys see when I'm drawing, just in case I start drawing off the paper for like 20 minutes and you guys can't follow that. Or if my camera cuts off for some strange reason, and at least I can look on the monitor, not on the laptop, and say, oh, it cut off, so let me stop drawing, let me stop talking. So yeah, and once I get that working, I'll do a video of that, of the problems that you're gonna have if you decide to buy it. Now, someone said that you can do that with your tablet, but I'm not sure. They said you can hook a line from your tablet, but I don't want to run a line from anything to anything, because, yeah, I want it to be free floating, shall we say. The joys and downfalls of trying to make a YouTube channel. Okay, so this guy is finished. I need to have some words like stop here, because people fast forward it. I'm sure a few people fast forward it. So now I'll take one of these guys. So let's say I'll take this guy. So this guy's going to be plain line. The drawing is nice. So if you have your drawing, and I think it's called open line. I'm not sure when you just have one size line, but it's not a bad drawing. Even if I did like shading and so forth and so on, or hatching on it, it's still not a bad drawing, because I've seen artists that do this with the one line, and it looks good. I admire that. But let's let's do one with the line weight, and then you can compare the two. And that's the reason I didn't buy anything. The reason why I drew these two, so that you can compare one with line weight and one without line weight. Because you might be a person that don't understand line weight, and this is exactly what the video is for, Brian. So, and your drawings are like that, which is not bad, but when you start adding just a little line weight to it, it becomes even better. And it's not a lot of weight, as I say, just where your circle opens up more, or the highest point. What are you saying? I'm thinking about breakfast, because it's like, what is it, about 10:30 Saturday morning, and I haven't eaten yet. I'm drawing just for you guys. And here. And this is like undershadow, so that's a given right there. Here. And some lines you don't want too big, like you want the biceps in the back thicker than you might want the top of the leg or something. So, but still, I'm gonna give it a little bit of extra line weight. The back here, the whole back could be darker because it's in shadow, but I'm not gonna put it. We're just doing just the highest point of the curve. The knee, maybe a little darker here, right here. Some right here. Since this is more of a smooth line, there's going to be a little bit of a curve here. A smooth line, a straight line. Here. Here, and a little bit right there. So already you can see the difference between the two. So let's go there, under here, and even the head. Let's make it a little darker here, and then the fists, around the fists. Now, if all goes right and my camera is still filming, and you guys can see it, I'll be happy. So, let's do this. And because I said this line is in front of the body, it's going to be just a little thicker. It doesn't have to be thicker all the way, but let's check. Let's see. Let's get a little line weight right here, under the knee. And mostly you're concerned about outside of the lines more than inside. So you're going to do your outer area is going to be the thicker line. And then I think that's it. So if you look at the two and you compare, now I can continue to add a little more line weight, in areas, but right off the bat, you see the difference between the two. As I said, this is not a bad drawing, but this one jumps out more just because you put a few extra lines around the curves. So, one last thing I wanted to say, which is this about the pen. So I have my Artist Loft, I have a Staedtler, and then I have the Faber-Castell. So, Faber-Castell, and this one is dying. I want to erase these lines to show you. It might work, it might not. Faber-Castell right there. This is the Staedtler, and this is another one of the big names. Right here. And this is the Artist Loft. And this is a brand new one that was opened up last night. So now let me give that a few seconds to dry. Let's see if I can turn that up so you might be able to see it. The Staedtler. And this is the Faber-Castell. Bottom, middle, and top. So if I take my eraser, so if I ink this whole picture, and I should have enough time to dry, and I started erasing. It looked like me, the Faber-Castell lost its ink. more than the Artist Loft. Whoops! No, because this is a brand new pen. As I said, these pens are fading, but that's the way that you can tell. Buy you a set of pens, draw over the pencil. Let's just say this one. Draw over your pencil, and then you come back and erase. And this is say the pen is dying, so and then come back and erase. If that line stays black and it doesn't fade, then you've got a good pen. So that's it for the review of these two. But I think this is unfair because, as I said, this is brand new and these two, the ink is fading out. But I still go with this one. But the Artist Lofts are really, I think it was $5 for this pack. Maybe if the pack of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you'd have to do the math to see how much you can afford. So, okay, that's it for this tutorial. If you liked it, leave a comment and subscribe and help me grow my channel. It's been about 3 years now. I'm still trying to get that. I don't even think I have 5,000 yet. But if you are an artist and you do social media, please help me out by putting the link onto all your Facebook, your Twitter, your whatever, and tell your artist friends, because if you're an artist, you have artist friends. Tell them about my channel. Help me out. I would definitely appreciate it greatly. And I had a winner to my birthday present giveaway, and I don't have that name, but I've already contacted that person. And if you signed up for that and you didn't get contacted, then because you didn't win, but it's already won, it's already sent out, and I want to thank you, that person, for enjoying my videos, and I want to thank you guys for enjoying it. If you're looking at my videos, if you're not seeing this, you wouldn't know. So anyway, that's it, because I'm hungry. I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't. I am out.